Hello my dear friends, welcome back to another video. So today's been a strange one for Star Wars news. There are a handful of interesting rumours, and in this kind of down period between shows, the rumour mill is certainly very interesting. At best, when certain scoops are reliable, it gives us insight into what's going on behind the scenes, decisions Lucasfilm and Disney are making. And at worst, well, they're BS, they're full of it. And the stories making the rounds today are a mixture of both. I wanted to cover some of them, give you my take, and I've been covering Star Wars news pretty much every day for 5 years. At this point, with some degree of accuracy, I can suss out when things are fake, when they're just educated guesses, and I know which sources are reliable and which ones are not. Sometimes reliable sources do get things wrong, and other times you'd be surprised. Unreliable sources, much like a broken clock, are right twice a day. So what is going on in the world of Star Wars? The big story is this. A Mara Jade TV series rumoured to be in the works. Could Zendaya play the Emperor's hand? And you're probably just as confused as I was when I read this headline. I will address the second part of it in just a moment, but let's first discuss the Mara Jade situation. I think it was in 2019, when some reports came out that Lucasfilm were in talks to figure out how do we bring her into the new canon. Then The Mandalorian came out, Luke Skywalker re-emerged earlier in the timeline compared to the sequels in The Mandalorian Season 2, then in Book of Boba Fett. Grand Admiral Thrawn was already in canon thanks to Star Wars Rebels and a few canon books, and then he came into Ahsoka. And that's when fans seriously started wondering, is Lucasfilm going to take the expanded universe, what some people call Legends, seriously? And are we coming to a day when Mara Jade is going to make her way into Star Wars canon? I'm just going to give you my take, guys. I strongly think the answer is no. There might be a character that fills the role that Mara Jade did in the Timothy Zahn books, the Legends books, but given the current canon story post-Episode 6, I don't see how Mara Jade fits in. I've often spoken about how Ahsoka Tano is taking Luke's place in the sort of Dave Filoni adaptation of Heir to the Empire. He himself hates that analogy, but in terms of the main Jedi, the main Force user, in the Favreau and Filoni Mandoverse, it's Ahsoka. So in terms of Lucasfilm literally cutting and pasting Mara Jade from the expanded universe into canon, unless they're doing more with Luke post-Return of the Jedi, I don't see it happening. He seems to be more of a cameo character for this era. You know, he's coming to Galaxy's Edge, he's in the comics, his story's explored in novels, all the way up to The Force Awakens. But unless they want to do something substantial with Luke in live action, which unless they recast, is going to cost an arm and a leg, I don't think Mara Jade is coming into canon. A lot of fans want to see that story play out, but simultaneously there are plenty of concerns that Disney would mess her story up. Initially the Emperor's hand, Mara Jade went on to become a Jedi, marry Luke Skywalker, and have children. And given comments from the likes of Dave Filoni that he wants to divert away from this storyline, I don't think we're getting a literal Mara Jade. I could be wrong, but if she is brought into Star Wars canon, she's probably not going to play the same role, and might not even have the same name. So this new report comes from SFF Gazette, and they got it from scooper My Time to Shine Hello. They have a bit of a mixed track record in the Star Wars space. I know they're a big name in Marvel leaks, but when it comes to Star Wars, they've been very hit and miss. In fact, I don't recall many times they've been accurate. So when they say a Mara Jade series is coming soon, I just don't think so, guys. Listen, we're entering a very different era of Star Wars. Disney is moving away from the live action shows. Anything that does get greenlit has to be grandiose. A series about an expanded universe character really doesn't seem to be their approach, with very few exceptions. Like I say, Thrawn, Pelion, Rook. Whenever there have been opportunities to do something with a legend storyline, they shy away. They create new characters or find other ones to fill that role. And I can see the same thing happening with Mara. Either she appears as a Plagueis kind of situation, just a brief cameo so fans can point to the screen and say, oh look, Mara Jade, or they don't do it whatsoever. Now here is a quote from Dave Filoni that proves I don't think this is the route they're going to take. This is in reference to what we're going to see in Ahsoka Season 2, maybe a little bit in The Mandalorian and Grogu, and whatever comes after it. He says, I'm setting up what seems to be a larger conflict with the Imperial Remnant. And here's the key bit. That conflict cannot just mirror what we've seen before. It has to take on a different shape. It can't just be the Empire versus what looks like the Rebellion, or even the Republic. It has to be visually different. Now, I don't really talk about this, but I have got ears everywhere, I've got some very interesting connections, and I know a couple of people who know a little bit about Ahsoka Season 2 and The Mandalorian and Grogu, and I can tell you, I really don't think Mara Jade, let alone an entire Disney Plus series based on Mara Jade, is something they're interested in doing. Okay, so we're not fully done with this story just yet. There is a second story that kind of ties to this. So let's just put a pin in the Mara Jade story, put it on ice, and turn our attention to another rumour. Zendaya is in talks to join the galaxy far, far away. This isn't the first time the Dune and Spider-Man actress has been linked to potentially appearing in a Lucasfilm project, but it is the first time I'm taking it seriously. When it came to the Rachel Zegler rumour, when it came to the one about Millie Bobby Brown, there were doubts, but considering Ryan Gosling is about to appear in the Shawn Levy movie, is Lucasfilm taking a different approach for their upcoming movies? Are they no longer shying away from big names? Zendaya to me makes sense, and given the current pop culture zeitgeist, this wouldn't be the most insane thing in the world. Do I think they should do it? I don't know, depends on the role. If Shawn Levy's movie is going to be post-episode 9, which are the current rumours, having brand new characters who we don't have any association with, that just so happen to tie into, I don't know, the Rey movie, might actually work. Now, how does this relate to the Mara Jade thing? In my opinion, it doesn't, but I came across the funniest comment I've ever seen. Some outlets are trying to connect the dots, and they think Zendaya might be playing Mara Jade. I'm sorry, but the two look nothing alike. This paragraph here made me burst out laughing. Check this out. The Insider also revealed that Spider-Man No Way Home star Zendaya is also being considered for a Star Wars role. Mara Jade isn't mentioned, though we're sure you'll agree that she'd be a good fit for the character. I'm sorry, I don't know what planet they're on, unless, like I said, Disney is making their own character based on Mara Jade, for Luke Skywalker to have a love interest. But that topic in and of itself is pretty contentious and pretty controversial. Some say Luke shouldn't have a love interest. Others who consider the expanded universe as canon say, of course he does, Mara Jade. But you know, here's the thing. At this point, with Lucasfilm, there are two different approaches. Those that continue current storylines, and then the upcoming movies by James Mangold, Shawn Levy, and while they're all set in different eras, I think those ones are the ones that are not going to be afraid to cast familiar faces, big name actors. I think Zendaya is a bit too recognisable, but because she's talented, I can see her working in the right circumstances. There is so much apathy at the moment for upcoming Star Wars content that I think fans have reached a stage where we think, you know what, just go for it. Just give us something different. Give us something that could be refreshing. If it works, great. If it doesn't, at least you tried something different. And finally, my dear friends, another big story I saw today, and I think this may have been a typo. I think what they meant to say is that after Ahsoka Season 2, there are going to be no more seasons of it. But I've seen word spread that Ahsoka Season 2 is cancelled, and I can flat out tell you, as far as I know, it isn't. Production begins in 2 months. Screen tests, costume tests, pre-production, a lot of preparation is currently taking place, and mere miles from where I live. So no, unless something drastic changes, and you know we hear in the news cycle in a couple of weeks by an official source that Ahsoka Season 2 is cancelled, just know my dear friends, it isn't. It's one of 2 remaining Disney Plus Star Wars shows that are confirmed. Andor Season 2 in just over a couple of months, and then Ahsoka Season 2. But the movie front is going to be one to watch. If Zendaya is in an upcoming Star Wars movie, I'd expect some kind of announcement at Celebration. But again, this could just be hearsay, just a guess, just a rumour, and even if there was something official to it, things do change. So that is my take on all of today's Star Wars news. What do you guys think? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, guys, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, show me some love. Check me out on socials, the link to my Patreon is down below, on Twitter, which is now known as x.com, @StarWarsMeg1. But until the next one, my dear friends, may the Force be with you, always.